Hi everyone, I'm Akshay Patil, your GRT safety captain for 2020-2021, and today you're watching the third installment of our gun robotics team safety videos. As we cannot do this in person, today I'll be talking about some measuring tools. To start off, I'll be talking about accuracy. When we make robot parts, we want them to be as accurate as possible. To do this, you have to measure frequently while machining and have good machining techniques. Today, I'll be talking about the measuring portion. Next, we'll be talking about drawing sheets. These are examples of drawing sheets. Drawing sheets consist of 3 different views for your part. Each view is labeled with dimensions of each feature. In the bottom right corner, details of the part such as tolerances, material, quantity, designer, and machinist are listed. On the drawing sheets, notice that there are many different symbols. On circular features, this symbol represents the diameter, and R represents the radius. The downward arrow represents the depth of a feature. Occasionally, you'll notice a plus-minus sign. This represents a different tolerance for that specific dimension. When making your part, you should measure twice, cut once. Measure and mark the desired dimension using die gum and a scribe and a Sharpie. For outside dimensions, err on the side of too long. You can always cut more material off if needed. For inside dimensions, err on the side of too short. After clamping the stock material in place, check that you're cutting the correct edge. Then, make your cut and measure the result. Recut and remeasure if necessary to reach the desired dimension. When you have finished a part and removed it from the visor clamp, wipe your part to remove any oil or chips. Then, check the quality of your work. Does the part have the correct dimensions, within tolerances, and does it match the drawing sheet? You may need to deburr your part before getting a good measurement, and should always deburr before turning part in. To further ensure part accuracy, we have a quality control or QC process. The job of the QC group is to check that all parts are within tolerance, meaning they have an acceptable variation from the specified dimensions. Let's go over how to actually measure our parts. At GRT, we routinely use 3 measurement tools: calipers, micrometers, and tape measures. Please treat our tools with care. The better we treat our tools, the more accurate results we get, and the longer the tools last. Be sure to handle precision tools such as calipers and micrometers with extra care as they are fragile. Also, wipe the measuring faces of your tools before and after use. Make sure you're using the appropriate measuring tool for the job. For tight tolerances, use calipers or a micrometer. For wood, use a tape measure. Calipers are very versatile and very accurate, and are the tool most often used for measuring metal parts. Calipers have an accuracy range between 1 and 5 thousandths of an inch. Calipers give you a reading down to the nearest thou or even half thou. However, this may include an error of 1 to 5 thou due to accuracy range. They can measure a maximum of 6 inches. There are 4 different measurements you can make with calipers. There's the inner diameter, outer diameter, step, and depth. Before measuring, make sure the calipers are zeroed. Here, I will demonstrate. First, wipe off the measuring faces. Next, press this button while the caliper jaws are closed. Next, I will show you how to measure inner diameter. This is outer diameter. This is depth. And finally, this is step. The next measuring tool we use is a micrometer. A micrometer is an extremely precise tool and is used for very small measurements on metal parts. It has an accuracy range between 1/10 of a thou and a thou. A micrometer can give a reading down to the nearest tenth of a thou. Micrometers only have a range of 1 inch. This specific micrometer has a range from 0 to 1 inch. This one has a range from 1 to 2 inches. To get accurate results, our tools must be in very good condition. To maintain the performance of our calipers and micrometers, wipe the measuring bases before and after use. Please use calipers and micrometers only to measure. Do not misuse them to mark or clamp a part, which will damage the precision ground measuring surfaces, resulting in inaccurate readings. Instead, remember to mark parts using Dicom, scribe tools, and Sharpies. Another measuring tool we use at GRT is a tape measure. A tape measure is good for large measurements on both wood and metal. It has an accuracy range of a 1/16 of an inch to an 1/8 of an inch. It has a range up to 25 feet, but the range often depends on the tape measure. To maintain the performance of a tape measure, keep the metal tape straight and do not bend or kink it. After you're done measuring, rewind the tape measure carefully and stop before the final inch is in. Then, gently rewind the last inch. This preserves the tolerance of the movable metal tip, which is designed to adjust to provide accurate measurement of both inside and outside dimensions by compensating the thickness of the metal tab. You may have noticed that for each tool, there is an accuracy range. Many things can affect the accuracy of a measurement reading. The condition of the tool itself can change the result. Human error can result in inaccuracies as well. And when the metal gets hot, it expands, changing the measurement by a few thou. Dirt and contamination can also affect the reading. So once again, be sure to handle measurement tools with care and keep them clean. You may have noticed the mention of cutting stock in our previous video. Cutting stock refers to cutting a piece of metal from a larger piece of metal, so it is just big enough to machine your part. When cutting stock, make sure it is large enough to meet the desired dimension, but not excessively so. A rule of thumb when cutting stock is to add a bit extra to the original dimension. For a plate or a box beam, add an extra 1/4 of an inch. And for a tube or a rod, add an extra 1/8 of an inch. When marking where you're going to cut, use a Sharpie or a Dicom and a scribe. When using a scribe, also use Dicom, which can be found in the yellow flammable cabinet. First, add some Dicom where you want to cut. Let it dry. Be sure to set your caliper to the correct length. Then, mark over it using your scribe tool. Using Dicom and a scribe allows you to make much more of an accurate mark than a Sharpie. That does it for our GRT shop training videos. I hope this has given you all a better understanding of how to use our measuring tools. If you have any questions, please ask them during class so everyone can learn the answers. Slides that go along with these will be posted on Schoology. Stay safe everyone, and I hope to see you all working here soon.